as of right now, we are recording. So thanks everyone for starting. I'll start again. My name is Jamie. I'm advising and recruitment coordinator for the School of Business. One of actually 6. We have a very large business program and have a lot of support people, which is really, really cool. So as I mentioned earlier, it's just me tonight. So I'll go through the presentation. I know there are probably questions that come up. They can either go in the chat or wait until we're done, and I can answer them all when they're done. I know there's a time frame, but I will stay till all the questions are answered. That's never a problem. I want to make sure everybody's looked after and everybody's comfortable moving forward with all the questions that they have. So what we'll cover a bit tonight is I'm going to go through all of our programs. I'll go through briefly, because everybody will be could be in a certificate, diploma, degree. We have our post-baccalaureate. We have a whole pile of different things. So I'll cover a lot of stuff. And hopefully as we go through, a lot of the questions will be answered. Like I said, I'm glad to answer them at the end. So I'll cover the programs. I'll cover a little bit how we do registration and how that's done, and ClassFinder and what classes you'll need. We'll cover all that for the first year, and then anything else beyond, I'll help with that. Usually in person, we can do a ClassFinder demonstration, which can help. It may be difficult with sharing this and doing that, so we can try. We'll have recommended courses and sample schedules. I'll walk everybody through that, how to do all that. That's probably a lot of the questions that I have. A lot of the student opportunities and services that we offer at the college, it's quite vast. I always tell students, you come to school for whatever length of time you're coming to school, and that's really important. But what's even more important is what you do in between the bookends of coming to school, because there's a lot of really cool opportunities that you can utilize what you're learning, plus to take advantage of all the opportunities that college has to offer to you. So, and then I'll answer any questions that you have. And like I said, I'll stay until all the questions are answered. Some of the things that we're very proud of at the School of Business, the government does research on graduates when they complete their degree. They only track degree students, unfortunately, but we like to think that this is indicative of all our programs. The last one was done in 2016. Like their info is not very quick, but on the survey, 100% of the graduates were satisfied with our education. We were the highest out of anybody in BC for all of our for all of these categories. 90%, 94% of our BBA students felt that everything they learned in the BBA was helpful with their jobs, and that, like I said, that hopefully be indicative of all the other credentials. And 93% of our BBA graduates are employed in their field after graduation, within 6 months after graduating. That is actually a really cool stat, and something I'm very proud of. Just goes to show the relevance of, I'm going to say not just our colleges, but all colleges, because our education is all applied hands-on learning, not book theory learning. And that's what is sort of the intangible that really, really helps when you're looking for work. You don't just learn business, you do business, and that's what's really cool. So all of our business programs, and you'll all be part of some of this, our post-baccalaureate diplomas are, if anyone's here that has their degree and registered for this, they're 20 courses. The business degree is 40 courses or 4 years. The business diploma will be 20 courses or 2 years, and our certificates are 1 year or less. One thing I'll mention too before we go forward, there's no right or wrong in the time frame of completing your credential. We have students that will do the 5 courses a year to complete. That's fine. We have students to do 2 courses a year or 3 courses a year. But one thing that's important to remember is 3 courses a semester is what qualifies a student as a full-time student for student loans, scholarships and bursaries, health and medical benefits, a lot of different special funding that's available. So that's the number to keep in mind. 3 courses a semester opens up to a lot of the different opportunities that can benefit you as you move forward. But there again, there's no right or wrong. When you're working on a credential, you do what's best for you and your lifestyle and your life cycle where you're at. That's what's really important. Not to overburden yourself and stress yourself, but do what you can manage and work from there. That's what's really important. We have 5 different specialties. We have accounting, a lot of that's for people that want to be a CPA, but there's a lot of all of our specialties. There's a lot of work out there for all of them. So accounting, finance, and that's whether you want to be an investment broker or a financial planner or work in a bank. There's so many opportunities. Human resource management is becoming really, really popular, as it always is. Management, marketing, tourism, hospitality. And one that we never promote too much, but is really important, is general studies. There's a lot of students that don't want to not be pigeonholed, but into a certain area. You could do general studies where you pick and choose the classes that you think would help you most in your career. What's on your, the most important thing is your credential. That's what's most important, is getting your credential in whatever specialty you decide. And about half our students actually do general studies because they want to pick and choose like the courses that they think will help them most in their career. There's absolutely no right or wrong. What's right is what's right for you. If anyone here is coming from another college, there's transfer credit opportunities. I won't get into a lot of that but I can help with all that. Like I said, I put my email in the chat, and I gladly help with that at any point in time. Anytime you can get any transfer credit saves you, time and money in completing your credential. So I'll cover that again. So registration for courses, when I imagine that all of you probably have applied already and probably have a student number and have accessed My Okanagan, but if not, so we'll get into a bit of that. So for, through My Okanagan is how you use ClassFinder to build your schedule, how you register for your classes, and also how you pay your tuition. And I'm going to cover the screens as we go forward. This is just an overview. So once you apply and you get a student number, you can access your My Okanagan account. And this is basically what it looks like before you go in. And if you've done this, you already know this. So you use your student number and birth date to sign in. You would change your password. And in here, one of the important things to keep in mind is you will be set up with a My Okanagan email. But if you would rather have your emails come to a personal or a special email or a personal email, you can change that in here so that you don't miss any emails. As you go through the process, and anything that gets sent out from the college, it's nice to have it go to a specific email. That makes it easier for you. So you can do all that in here when you're setting up your account, or you can do it at a later date. But if you set it up right away, you won't miss anything as important things come out. Like, for registration dates, about orientation is going to come out in August for September, all that kind of stuff. It's nice if you have easy access to that. So when you get into My Okanagan, this is what it's going to look like. Hopefully it's not too daunting. There's, but there's some things you'll use a lot out of here. This is just, a snapshot of it. In there, you'll be able to access how-to videos, book study rooms. Our programs, like I said, we do business. So a lot of our courses are project-based, and we have a lot of study rooms in all campuses that students can book to work on projects. All the student forums will be on here. You can apply for financial aid. Moodle is how we deliver all our courses. It'll be in the top right-hand corner, usually of your My Okanagan. So once you register and you get closer to September, you will go into Moodle and you will see all the classes you registered for. You will have in there the professor, a welcome from the professor, your course outline, which outlines what you'll basically cover every single week until the end of the semester. It's really cool, the information that's in there. You'll access other students and your professor, submit all assignments through Moodle, and that's all in your My Okanagan account. As I mentioned, register for your courses, and you can view your tuition balances and any important information, grades, and stuff that you're looking for. So these are and you guys can all see this, right? I should have asked you that before I went through, because I'm sharing my screen, right? So like the student records is once you register for your courses or different things, your tuition, any fees will all show up in here. So it's really nice. It's just one spot where you can access everything. ClassFinder, when you're registering and looking to build a schedule, there's two ways you can go through ClassFinder. Some students go through off the main website, which I don't recommend. Going through here, I recommend, because what happens is, you know, when you start going through ClassFinder, you'll notice that there's lots of different sections and different things for building your schedule. But if classes fill up when they're waitlisted, you will see all that in through here. So it's much easier to build your schedule this way, and saves a lot of headaches for you moving forward. That shouldn't happen if you register early, but some students don't register till later. A lot of classes get waitlisted. This way, you'll also be able to find out what's available, what's not available when you're building your timetable. We're going to get into that a little bit later here. And so once you build your timetable and have a schedule ready, when you get your registration time ticket date, this is how you register through the registration tab. And we'll get into that a little more in a sec also. So through ClassFinder, what you can do is you pick your campus. You can register for, these are questions we get a lot. You can register for online classes. You can register for distance classes, and you can register for in-person classes or any combination. You're not limited to one delivery. We are basically an in-class school, so the vast majority of the classes will be offered in person. Obviously, in Kelowna is the largest campus, so there'll be more selection in Kelowna, but there's still a really good selection in Vernon and Penticton, and then getting into Salmon Arm. The online classes are very similar to in-person classes. The only thing is you're not actually coming to the campus. They're still professor-led. There's still times you would have to be on the computer, you know, for the lecture part and for any important information. It's just you're selecting not to come to class. So it's the next best thing to being in class. Distance education is more self-led. You work independently. You don't have any specific class time you have to come to, but you still have the same assignment deadlines that you would have if you were in class or online. You would write your classes, you still write your tests at the campus the same time other students write the tests, but there's still the online resources available that you would have in class or online in Moodle. And then, you know, in person, you know, you will be professor-led, you know, you have regular class times and you are in person, you know, so those are a bit of the differences between the three. There's no right or wrong in class delivery. Picking what works best for you is good. The biggest thing with distance that I tell students is I've done lots of all these kinds. I've done lots of distance classes, online classes, and in Kelowna, like I'm a grad of our program a long time ago with a grad. The distance ones are really good. Also, if you can't fit things in your schedule, the biggest thing with the distance is when at this level in college university, every class you take is basically 3 hours a week. So when you're going through ClassFinder, it could be 2 1.5 hour slots or 1 3 hour slots, depending on how it's offered. But distance, like I said, there's no class expectation. So where students have an issue with distance is, and I'll use me for example, not that I procrastinate, but I get busy and I'll do other things. So if you choose distance, the way to be successful is to book at least 3 hours a week minimum, like you would have in class. And each class that you take will require, I always use the minimum of another 3 hours a week for homework. So every class you take, you'd want to have at least 6 hours a week available for in-class, online, in-person, or study, and you'll be successful. Because if you start getting behind in classes, that's where it gets really stressful, because something has to give, and usually something in other classes might give. So just a little bit of word of advice if you're doing distance. It works great. As long as you can block the time to do it, you'll be fine. Like I said, getting behind is stressful, is not fun. And I'll mention another thing here also is also, you know, you will have your professor's email and access to your professor. We're going to get into some of the students' services later, but connect with your professors. whether you're in class, online, or in person, it's always a good thing. I always suggest introduce yourself to your professor, you know, get their helpful hints on how to do well, or anything they can give you on from their personal experience. It's a great way to get started and get introduced to professor. The vast majority of students don't do that. They don't want to bother the professor. You're never, ever, ever bothering the professors. At the college level, they want to teach. They don't want to do research. They love teaching and passing on their knowledge. So don't ever be afraid to ask a professor for help or introduce yourself, anything. The help that we have at the college is amazing, if you decide to use it. Yeah. So we'll get into ClassFinder a bit, but what you do in ClassFinder is the first step to building a timetable that works for you. When you go into ClassFinder, it doesn't register for you for classes, but you can make a mock timetable. It'll show you when the times are, so you can find a schedule that works best for you. You'll see if there's any overlap in classes, because if you overlap, you can do that all through here. And then you can screenshot or print your schedule, and then when you can go in and then register for your classes from there, which is most helpful. So for those of you that are already accepted in the program, you should have your registration time ticket now. Registration starts, a lot of it start today, most starts on July 7th onward. The reason everybody doesn't register at the same time is that we would crash the system. So every program and everything is staggered through dates so that we don't have issues. So there again, you would log into your My Okanagan account, click on registration, add drop classes, select the term, and enter your CRN codes. That is how you would register. And I'm hoping that we can go through that process to help show you how to do that. We'll get there. Once you register, then there's the tuition. Tuition for fall is due August 16th. You can access like that into your student tab in My Okanagan. The reason that a lot of the slides we do here are a lot of the frequently asked questions we get, plus a lot of the disasters that can happen. So what happens is computers are ruthless. There's no personality in computers. So what happens is if students don't pay their tuition by August 16th, within about 4 or 5 days after that, the computer drops you from your classes. Terrible, because then what happens is then you have to go back in and re-register, and sometimes classes are full. You may not get your timetable. So I'm also going to bring up an important fact here also that, so let's say you go through, you register for your classes and all that kind of stuff. If you are accepted for student loans, if you're getting any kind of special funding or even education plans, the money never comes in until the second week of September. And so all you have to do is, if you're proof of student loans, whatever it is, you're going to have a letter, or you're going to have proof that you've been accepted, or you have the loans or special funding. All you do is email registration@okanagan.bc.ca with your information, and they will flag your account. And so they don't drop you because your funding isn't, or your student loans aren't coming in until September. Really important fact to keep in mind. Registration, you can register for your fall and winter classes at the same time on the registration date. I strongly recommend that, because if you don't and you wait later, some of the classes can get full and be waitlisted. You can always switch or change them around. That's never an issue. But it's good to have your fall winter set. At least you have your schedule set. You will have, so say once you register for fall, you will have until the second Friday in September to add or drop classes with no tuition penalty. So say, for example, you register for 5 classes, you go to your 5 classes and you realize that's too much. I don't really think I can handle 5 classes. You can drop a class, go down to 4, and you get a tuition credit, for January. Conversely, if you register for 3 or 4 classes and figure I can do 5, no problem. You can still register for a class up until the second Friday in September and have your 5 classes. So there's that 2-week window where there is no penalty for adding or dropping classes, which is quite important. And then December works the same way. You have until the second Friday in December to add or drop classes if you want to make any changes without any penalty. So I'm going to try and go in here and see if we can go into ClassFinder and add or drop classes. So can everybody see this? So this is the way that they structured the presentation. It would have been nice if we had what you register for first. But for example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume that we're registering for fall 2022 in Kelowna. It really doesn't matter which way you go. And then in business. So what you do is you select the semester, you select your delivery option, and you just select your program here, and you just go into search. So what you're going to see is now you're going to see all the classes in numerical order, all the different sections, and when they're offered and times they're offered. So you'll see that in some classes, there's a lot of different sections that you can register for. So how you would build your schedule, I'll just use the first ones for example. So say, for example, your BU 8111. So the first semester, the first year, you'll take BU 8111. You'll take BU 8128. You'll take BU 8123, and that'll come up later. You'll take Communications 112 and Math 114 is recommended for your first semester. So when you click the CRN numbers are also how you'd register. This is how you start building a timetable for yourself. So then you'd go add another course because that keeps you in business. If I'm going too fast, let me know. I'm trying not to go too fast. I'm trying to cover things okay, and then, or just stop me and I'll take more time. Then the next class you would be registering for is BU 8123 for the fall. So if you're registering for winter, it'd be the same thing. But so you'd go to 123, and I'll just pick the first one, the CRN number. So you see the first one conflicts already. And so what you would do is I'm just going to remove that one and go back again. Actually, I'm glad that happened because quite often it doesn't happen that way. So you go back to 123 and pick another section. We'll just pick, just pick this one. So you see how it starts to build a schedule. And then, we'd go to, and you can play around with this to find out one that works best for you. So we'll do this one for 128. So it works this way. One of the questions I'm getting emailed a lot is, I can't register for the communications or the math class. What happens is, once you get to this point, you actually have to go into the communications and then math. So you would go back to search so you don't lose everything. And then you would go down to communications and then search, and then you'll come up to the communications classes. Then you would go into Communications 112, pick a class. See, there's a conflict, which is great. So you'd go to go through and pick one that doesn't conflict. Yeah, we'll try. I'm going to take this one just for kicks, the night one. So no, it doesn't conflict. So, so far. And then for the math course, you'd go back to search and you would go down to math for Math 114. And then you'd go down here to pick a class. Wow, doesn't usually happen to me this much. This is good, actually, because usually is to find one that doesn't conflict. So we'll try this. Oh, I did that one. We'll try this one. Highly unusual, but kind of cool. It may seem daunting, but this actually works really well. Oh, interesting. This rarely happens, by the way. Usually, as you go into Gmail, but it doesn't happen. So, whoops. So the point is, so if you go through and everything conflicts, what happens? If you find times like, then you go back and you could change the 128 or the math. But the big thing is, you go through this to find a schedule you like. You can try, and some students like to try and stack their courses on certain days. Some like to try and stagger them like this. It depends on what you like. So you'd find the 5 courses you like in the schedule you'd like, and then you would you'd screenshot this part, because the CRN number is actually how you register for your classes. So you would do this until you're happy with your classes, like to screenshot it. And then when you have your registration date, you would go in and use, when you go into registration, it'd be add drop classes, fall 2022, and you'll see 7 CRN numbers in that screen. This is where you would enter your CRN numbers and hit submit changes. And that would be your schedule. You know, you registered for that for fall. And then you'd go in and you do the same for winter. In ClassFinder, you would go to, when you can't do fall, winter at the same time. So once you go to winter, you will lose your classes, you know, and then so you do exactly the same thing. So you can play around too with in-class, online, or distance to find the schedule you like. And then when you're happy with that, like I said, screenshot that, and then you'd go to use those for registering, and you would have your fall or winter set. Does that help? Yes or no? Hopefully. I know there's a lot of information. I'm going to go back to the presentation. So let's go back to that. So that would be how you would use ClassFinder. This is not what I want again. Sorry. Okay, so there. So the recommended courses for first year are here. So if you're doing a diploma or degree, these would be the 5 courses you'd pick. Or if you're taking less courses, you can email me and I can help you with what to take. I usually suggest the first semester would be the 111, 123, 128, but you know, semester 2, if you're doing the business diploma, you would take Canadian business, which is micro and macroeconomics in both course. And you would take these courses and an elective, and I'll get into electives after this. If you're in the BBA, you would take micro or macroeconomics in the winter semester. Because in the diploma, you can take Canadian business. If you're doing the BBA, all degrees require you have micro and macroeconomics. So this would be what you would select for the BBA. So if you're doing accounting, elective you would pick, it'd be BU 8121. If you're doing finance, it'd be 251, HR it'd be 269. If it was management and marketing, you would take 176, or tourism hospital, this just changed, actually be BU 8115, or general studies, you can choose whichever one you want to take. It's totally up to you, you know, because there's the required classes and then there's the classes that you take. I'm not going to get into the post-backs, because if anyone's doing that, I would rather email me and I'll help them with the classes, because depending when you start, yeah, it's a little more complicated. I'd rather help with that. And same with if you're doing a business study certificate, I would rather help you with that too, because there can be course prereqs and stuff with them. So I would rather email me and I'd help you with that. Because we have so many different business study certificates, and they get complicated. And so it's much easier if I help you with those by far. So I would gladly do that. Some of the different opportunities and services we have, like I said, getting your credential is one thing. What you do within it is really important. We have, our students have the opportunity to do business competitions, which you test your skills against. Oh, sometimes some of the competitions are students all around the world, like our Queen's Intercollegiate competition we do out of Ottawa. We have in a group called Enactus, which is basically entrepreneurs in action, that you can get involved with. They there's I think 53 or 54 Enactus groups across Canada in colleges and universities, and we're usually in the top 1 to 3 all the time. We rated very highly in the regionals, and they're going to Toronto in the nationals in May. We have a really strong co-op department, where co-op is important for students doing the diploma or degree or the post-bacs. After you complete your first year, your first 10 courses, you can qualify for co-op. Co-op is paid work experience. So the co-op terms, a lot of in the past used to be because you go to school first semester January until December, or sorry, September to December, then January to April. A lot of the co-op terms would be like May until August, and then students would come back to school. But because we're a college and you can start in January, or you can start in September to January, we've had co-op opportunities that go from January to August. They could go for a whole year, January until December. They can go from May until August. What's important is, like I said, it's paid work experience, and it prolongs your graduation date. But the most important thing is it gives you work experience in your area of study if you don't have any. So that really boosts your employability once you get out. And so their co-op will be contacting all students, first year students, usually in September, October, to let you know how that works for when you're done. We have lots of clubs and associations that students can get involved in. One of the cool things we have for students doing their BBA, we have a study abroad program. And the reason it's only for BBA students is because all universities around the world, we have 21 universities in 16 countries that you can go to. They need 2 years of education before you start. And you go to the other school, it's the same tuition as you pay for us. It's student loan eligible. You go for a semester, you come back here, get credit, and carry on with your degree. It's an absolutely phenomenal opportunity. You're still student loan eligible and everything, even though you're in another country. Cool opportunity if that's something you're interested in. These are all free services to students. Financial aid, that's everything from helping with student loans or scholarships, bursaries, and anything. You can contact the department and they will let you know and help you with what's available. We have libraries in all campuses that have study rooms, up-to-date, computers with software if you need that help. Our learning centers on all the campus, there is tutoring, free tutoring each semester for all the subjects that we teach. So whether you're an A student, whether you're struggling, there are students that can help with math, students that can help with English, students that can help with your projects or accounting. During the first 2 weeks of every semester, we actually hire students, 3rd or 4th year students, to help to do the tutoring, and all students will be sent the time list, so you'll know when you'll be able to go in for free help, and that's available on all 4 of our campuses. We have a campus store that you can go into, either order your books online or in person. Academic advising is what we do. We actually have free actual full counseling services on every campus. That's a really good service to use if you're struggling or want to talk to somebody. Please use these services. We have accessibility services on all campuses. We have students that, may have severe ADHD or have, clinical issues of writing exams or certain things. You can connect with accessibility services and they will help you however they can help you, which is, I think, really important and really, really good. Coming to school is stressful. There's the cost and all this stuff. Any way you can get help is well worth it. So please, feel free to use these services. We have great Indigenous services on all campuses, and IT tech support services are always available too. If you have any issues with the internet or connecting, there is help really quickly with all of these areas that are all free to all of our students. All campuses, there's parking passes available. Buying a parking pass doesn't guarantee you parking, but it guarantees you won't get parking tickets. And that's actually quite important. Health and dental benefits for students that are full-time. Student ID cards, like I said, group study rooms. The biggest thing is get your ID card, and you upload that in your My Okanagan. So you take your picture, you upload that into the student ID card portal, and then you would just pick up your ID card at whatever library, at whatever campus that you have designated as your campus. It's that easy. And the reason we put professors on here again is professors, they want you to succeed and they will do everything they can do to help you succeed. So don't ever not reach out to them. When you get your Moodle open, it'll be how to access professors. They all have, so if you're in class, they all have office hours. If you're online, they will have online office hours. And if you're taking distance, they will let you know how you can contact them. So they're always available to help you with any questions that you have going through the process. And I can't stress that enough. They are an amazing resource and they will do everything they can do to help you, whether it's from assignments or if you're struggling, they'll work with you to help you get through the program. Very important. You can follow us on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on, I'm drawing a blank. All these insignias. I monitor them, but I'm just having a blank. It's getting late in the day. But please feel free to follow us. One thing I want to bring to your attention too is about 3 years ago in your Moodle, you're going to notice there's a link there to what's new in business. What happens is going through your schooling, there's always emails, there's always stuff, you get inundated with things. What we use the what's new in business for important dates, tuition dates, if we have any events coming up, degree, diploma, and different planners. Anything that's happening, sometimes we'll have jobs posted. We only post in what's new in business. We don't post any general comments. It's all important for students. So we wanted to have one portal where students could go and find anything they need and any resource they need in one spot. So that would be a good resource that you can use also. And then in summary, everything that happens, your My Okanagan account will be your friend. If you haven't got a registration time ticket, you can look into your registration tab and it'll tell you when your date is, which everybody will have very shortly. I would suggest planning your courses now for fall and winter. We covered paying tuition on time. I can be emailed for whatever questions you have at any time. Get involved. We do an orientation on all the campuses on the Tuesday after the long weekend. It's not required, but it's a nice thing to do. You'll meet professors, there's food. They'll talk about all the different services we have. You'll get to meet other students. It's only usually about 2 hours out of your day, but there'll be campus tours and all things that can help you as you're going through. So I would watch out for that stuff. And then if you have any issues with your application status, it's all in your My Okanagan account, but these are the email addresses you know, so admissions, if you have registration issues, these are all, and this will all be posted shortly. I'm going to go into the chat. Oh, sorry, hard to read, small print. Okay, all good. The recording probably posted within 2 or 3 days. It'll be pulled from the cloud and it'll be posted. Okay, yeah, so where do I find courses for the business manager certificate program? If you email me, I will send you, I've made up a special planner for that, the courses and prerequisites, but I will that, and we can discuss that. If there's any, yeah, so if there's any questions anybody has, just unmute yourself and ask away. Always happy to help. I know there's a lot of information to go through and you get bombarded, but if there's anything that wasn't answered, I will stop the recording now. Okay, and